Today, I would like to thank you for the organizer for inviting me to share my views and thoughts on this very interesting topic on gamification. And I'm sharing today one of my research paper that I have published recently in a good journal based on understanding of how gamification and actually is impacting this technology driven services. And specifically I did this study in the context of banking. I'm also doing a lot more things currently which are work in progress. So we started the thought to understand that how gamification or gamifying the experiences actually bringing the changes to the this digital banking services. And this has been a very interesting area that we have chosen along with my research students here in IIFT Delhi. So we developed two research papers out of this topic, and but certainly I am going to discuss this first one because the topic which is more aligned to this customer experiences. So we started the thought on gamification in banking, that why gamification is important. Are we moving from the transactional economy to that experiential economy? And further, if we look at this experiential economy, then how the gamification or element of game, element of playfulness, element of you can say there are so many lot many categorization of the activities. Like I'm taking few names, like what we have observed, that how the Indian banks, particularly the banks those who have internationalized in the recent past from India to different markets, they have started gamifying their banking. They are talking about point systems. They're talking about the badges. They're talking about the leaderboard. They're talking about the team challenges. They are looking at the digital feedbacks. So there are a lot many things that come out from the entire discussion. So we have recently published, and I will demonstrate you more on this discussion. And so what we did, actually, this is a outcome of research. And as an academician, our thought always goes with the new conceptualization, addition to the new knowledge, what is available. So you can see the theoretical advancement, understanding the area, understanding the scope of that area, then how the academicians, the researchers, and the practitioners and society are using the experience. We, understood that how the practices are coming, how the banks have included this gamification element, and why this only the transaction is not important for the banks, and that experience actually is gaining the popularity among, even whether it's a public banks or they are private owned banks. And the what actually excite the customers to engage, or how the factors are driven by the controlled by the firm or the bank, why they want the customer should use such applications on mobile or the website, or why they should talk to the avatars. The avatars are the also, they are interacting in a very different way to the consumers. And where there is no presence of the staff member or the employee of the bank, but the technology, or this gamifying this entire the connect between the customer and the firm is playing an important role. So specifically in this research, we have tried to develop a connect between the technology related factors of customer experience, consumer related factors of consumer experiences, by understanding the two different models. The model one that we understood, it service clues model, that experience actually helps the consumer to perceive the services, and there are certain clues that actually connect the customer experience, the co-creation of value, their engagement, their participation into the system. And we integrated, one is service clues model, another is service profit chain model. So we, after integration and applying these two model to understand the context into the banking, we developed this relationship to understand whether, after applying this gamification element along with this service clues are basically the element which actually helps you to perceive the services. The clues is your functional clues, your mechanic clues, your humanic clues, because every element of the services is play a very important role, whether it's the quality, whether it's a trust, whether it's a convenience, or your website attributes, or here we can also take the attributes of your mobile app, because the electronic banking or the digital banking has a different channels as well. So people are using through mobile, people are using the banking services through website, people are using the banking services through kiosk, self-service kiosk. So there are different channels to use. So but attributes of delivering that services play an important role. Your design is plays an important role. The usability of that services plays a very important role. And then how you actually addresses that this complaint part, that query after support services. If you integrate all the service clues when you offer the services with the element of gamification, certainly it is going to enhance the customer experience, your engagement. So these all are technology driven thing. Gamification is technology driven aspect. Your service clues also is in digital banking particularly is a technology driven aspect. And customer experience is what we perceive, what we are getting, and how we are connected. And the second level is customer satisfaction or the loyalty or the financial performance. So these are the customer related aspect, that if I'm perceiving the services very engaging, I'm perceiving the banker very proactive in and helping the customers in different way where I'm enjoying and I'm happy. I'm rewarded by after doing a transaction. I'm able to, I'm giving one example here in India that, the banks, what they are doing, they have developed certain games for the investors or the users. They can actually, they have assigned certain coins to on their applications, and this is one piggy bank, and you have to, make your own portfolio, and that portfolio is giving you the live situation of that mutual fund or some kind of a stocks. So that's kind of a fun also, that you are actually learning also. So that aspect of customer experience is also giving you, is a kind of financial literacy. So gamification is not only to enhance the experience, gamification is also enhancing the financial literacy, of the consumer. Easy navigation, product ranking, customer support, and a lot of graphics, animation, and this customization of the things from the user, and user can decide a lot of things at their end. So that all are leading towards the customer loyalty, and that customer satisfaction and the loyalty now giving to that high financial performance to the bank. So this is a one integration to understand the service profit chain model plus the service clues model. So we have integrated these two models to understand the gamification, element of gamification in technology. Now, I would like to show some of the things that we are still doing, how we understanding this aspect of, gamification based practices in banking channels. So, as we all are using, technology currently. So we are using internet banking, we are using mobile banking, we are using self-service chaos, and a lot of ATM machines, a lot of chaos have been installed in different places where customers can use. So when you look at the gamification, so there are a lot of criteria which actually helps us as a consumer to decide whether I would like to go for gamification based banking channel services or I'm not at all interested in. But certainly, after going through the literature or the previous researches, people find the gamification or the experience of applying this, gamifying the things, it actually attracts the consumer attention. Based on that, the that interview, based on that discussions with the users, with the banking managers, with the experts in the market, we arrive to develop certain benchmarks, certain criteria, that how you assess this criteria, how what kind of challenges that you face, that you see and you would like to engage with, what kind of interactivity that you find on the gamification based banking channels, and the aesthetics, that how the things has been delivered, the animation, the graphics, then you see the functionality, how this gamification based banking channels, banking platforms, banking application, mobile applications are operating, and in the control, that how, to what extent as a user I can customize what choices have been given by the banks to me. So, after doing this benchmarking or criteria, we have tried to understand there are certain sub criteria through which we can map the gamification element or the gamification exercise. Like for assessment, we how we assess the things, that engagement kind of practices, the point system, how much you have earned through the points, means you are getting success one by one, you are passing ladder by ladder, some games, some mode of transactions, and you are earning some points. Like people are earning certain points by transacting through credit cards, and that credit cards is actually helping you to connect to some different platforms where you can go, you can share, you can in cash, you can get something. So another this point, the levels, you are a beginner to this platform, you are having an advanced level of that, using that platform, and accordingly you get some badges. You are a leader, you are a champion, you are a you are a gold, you are a silver. So a number of things that comes upon the achievement of the user, the progress bars and the rewards. So how actually we connect the users through this kind of practices. All these practices will be mapped through these services, that whether user find internet banking more appropriate, more gamified kind of thing as compared to the self chaos services and the mobile banking. Or mobile banking is more easy, more interactive than the internet banking. So all things, because this is work that I'm currently pursuing, applying the multi-criterion decision making. So certainly in the next 1 week or so, we would come with some results of the study that conducted through the applications of mathematical modeling. And when we look at the interactivity, how we interact through this kind of platforms, the gamification platforms, like digital feedback, how the things has been recorded, easy navigation, product ranking, customer support. That for customer support, who is interacting, the avatar or that staff or the employee. So the things have converted into very animated form, or chatbot kind of interactive voice recordings or the voice assistants. So they are helping us in the interaction also. Avatar, graphics, animation, the functionality, how we are using the information which is provided by the platform, ease of use, which platform is more useful. in terms of, mobile banking is more useful than the internet banking, or the self-service kiosk is more important than the mobile banking. So we have to compare each criteria to understand the selection, on what basis the customer is actually select the gamification based practices in banking channels. Then control the choice. The choices means, that I can add, I can delete, I can, customize my own portfolio, and I can request quickly to the bank to change my services, to update my services. But certainly, uh, these is a control system, whether bank is giving me certain kind of choices, or is something is very restrictive to an extent. So that we are still working in this model, and to understand that how gamification or the decision making towards gamifying the banking practices is taking place, and which platform is more important. Because in India we have, these three popular platforms that people are using in context of digital banking. And people also visit to the banks physically, but banks also want to convert all the physical visits into this online visit or the virtual visits to reduce that, the pressure of the queuing and many things. And we have understood one another aspect of this technology, that almost, banks are working on that, the security, or the information, or the navigation, or what would the next level of, this gamification practices that they will be delivered to the, this through mobile banking. Because mobile banking certainly is going to be the next most popular platform where, the mobile digital banking services will be delivered. And this is one aspect of understanding this gamification, and that could lead to, the engagement. Because the ultimate purpose of this gamification is to learn the consumer customers behavior towards that engagement. And certainly for any bank, because I'm specifically talking in the banking context, because my research is connected to this discipline. And whether is any kind of bank, all banks are continuously striving towards the loyalty and the retention of the customer. Because switching rates are very high when customer compares the services and they don't find that the services are relevant, services are, very, very innovative in terms of, engagement. And so these the gamification is one strategy, and that actually helps the bank or the bank management to look at the how to retain, not only retain, to train the customer, to understand the talent of the, staff employee. Even the staff is also engaged into gamification practices to understand the consumer behavior. So this is one thing, and I have shared this detailed analysis with you, that what are the components that are important to look at when we are thinking of, technology-based services. And I have taken a case study of the, the banking industry. And so in our study, we explored last 10 years of researches which have been conducted into the domain of digital banking. And we have identified, certain criteria to benchmark that, how we have to judge that this is the best research, or the best journal, or the paper that the research paper that we are looking at, which is the best fit into the context. So academic perspective, the research perspective actually requires some kind of justification, that on what basis that we have to. So we applied a very systematic protocol to understand, inclusion and exclusion, that we have only taken the papers who are talking about the gamification in the digital banking or the mobile banking or the electronic commerce banking, and then we have sorted out almost 100 papers, and after understanding those 100 papers, what they have mentioned, what criteria, and then we have come up with certain criteria and sub criteria to understand this kind of relationship, right? So this is a short discussion on my this research that we have recently completed on the banking. Yeah. So Albert, this is a brief on my latest work.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashish. It's very, very interesting stuff. I think we've got one question that's already come through. I'll pop it on screen. So it's, where is your research taking you next?
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting question. So though, that the relationship that we have, showing to you on the screen. So currently, my next research is going to understand the decision-making criteria. That what decision criteria that we can apply to understand the engagement factors or the gamification-related issues that you know. How as a consumer I decide I should go for a mobile based banking system which offer games, or internet or website based banking, or I should go for the chaos based banking. So this is the current one. And another research that my team is working on to empirically validate the model that we proposed, in the first the slides I have shown to you, where we are talking about service clues, gamification, customer satisfaction, or ultimately whether gamification contributes to the financial performance of the banking organization. To what extent the gamification actually influencing or changing the financial performance or ROI of the banking. Ultimately, things are available to the consumers even without gamification. But certainly, our agenda is to look at if we integrate gamification or gamification element to the customer service, so to what extent it enhance the satisfaction, to what extent it enhance the loyalty, to what extent it enhance the financial performance. And financial performance certainly is a goal of the banking organizations. So my next research will talk about the decision criteria and the impact on the financial performance of the bank. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds very interesting. Very extensive research done so far. While we're waiting for other questions, I did want to sort of touch upon one point, and with that sort of the various clues that you're talking about in terms of like that foundation, and sort of reminded me of something in one of the previous talks as well, and literally just one before this with Jacques. Is sort of it's that idea, I guess, of building that solid foundation before you
Right.
even bring in the gamification. I think
Right.
is that sort of in your opinion and what you've seen through your research and all of that, is that sort of the definite always that you should have that solid foundation of the experience ready before
Right.
even considering gamification?
Right.
That
Right.
your thoughts on
Right.
that?
So I would like to add, one thing that yes. So when we look at this gamification perspective, technology, is a very important, consideration into that system. And when we look at different markets, like India is one market, and UK is one market, Europe is one another market. So, to what extent that people are actually connected to the technology, to what extent they are having access to the technology, and to what extent the top management of the firm, to what extent the government of the market that actually supports that firm to go for, offering that accessibility to the technology. If the technology is there, and the firms are ready with the support, firms are ready with the innovative thoughts, and certainly if it is available for access, certainly customer find it interesting. And uh, we are actually working with on a case study with a bank who has recently developed a piggy bank kind of concepts on their mobile, where customer has to collect certain coins, and these coins will be distributed into different portfolio, and this portfolio actually will reflect the livestock performances to the user. And every day they have to spend few minutes time to understand the stock value and the change in the portfolio. And so it is on a trial basis currently, and it seems very interesting if customers actually really learn the live thing through this kind of practices. And certainly it will bring a solid foundation for the next level foundation for the banking organization that currently we are working on. It is on a pilot testing basis. So they are doing that kind of pilot testing with their different kind of consumers, the mid-income consumers, the high-income consumers, or the consumers are on the subsidy also. So they have different kind of understanding. But certainly gamification and games, certainly people like, and they create and generate interest into that.
Yeah, no, it's sort of one of the things I was next going to ask was sort of if there are any examples, but I like that idea, and I've come across it a few times with personal thing and through clients and all that. So I suppose that aspect of with the banking and all of that, it seems to be very much a thing that you must have a bank. It's part of life in general, and
Right.
at no point are you taught any of the extra things that sit around it. Where you were just saying, like having a savings account, or investing in stocks or anything like that via your bank. So I suppose bringing in that sort of gamification element on top of that foundation sort of
Right.
educates the
Yeah,
user within that
actually,
environment.
that is more important. That you have is a very good point. That education is very important, and the training and the literacy towards kind of things is very 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 important. When I was looking at the past 20 year of research, particularly in that domain, what I found, gamification and its application to the banking or retailing or the hospitality is
Mm,
underexplored till date,
mm,
underexplored.
yeah,
But certainly we have used these games into education. But education has a very different perspective. But the application into the industry is very, very new, and very limited firms in the emerging markets like India is actually harnessing the potential. So
mm,
certainly it would be a case of US or Europe where firms have actually aggressively converting their platforms to gamify the things, but still, like the emerging markets or the different where income level is very different from
mm,
the Western countries, they still look at whether the investment in the gamification or the platforms will actually generate the results as they are expecting
yeah,
from that investment. So it's an investment, and
yeah,
that if investment is don't give the results, so certainly it will be disappointment for the organization, where to what extent my users are actually using. So the actual adoption of that gamification and the decision making towards that what platform is better, which actually gamifying the experiences for which we need education, the learning, the new learning, or you can say the gamifying learning
yeah,
through gamification for a specific, whether it's a retailing, whether it is a hospitality, whether it's a banking, whether it's a healthcare.
yeah,
So health is one of the most prominent area who's using the smart gadgets to look at. People are using those things. So, but yes, if you divide this countrywide perspective, you will find a lot of differences in the adoption level of the these kind of things.
Yeah, I suppose
Yeah.
in terms of like the comfort level, as you said, and the budget, in terms of like what their understanding and expectations are
Yeah.
within that sort of overall thing. No, very interesting stuff. And I mean, as you said, you're continuing with your research, so I imagine there's a wealth of things to look into and seeing how it comes across.
Yeah. True. When you look at any document, you will find the new insights.
Yep.
What happened in this, Taiwan, what happened in the US, what happened in the Europe, what happened in the different market, what happened in the underdeveloping market. And people are actually also working, in the African market. Africa is one of the lucrative prospect for the firms. They see the Africa as a new next market to look at, an affordable market, or not high, but it's affordable market to the many organizations.
Definitely.
And so it depends on the resources, because technology is a resource for the country, technology is a resource for the users, technology is a resource for the society. So how frequently you think of upgrading that technology to reach out to that specific level? So that is more important, which require research as macro level, or micro level understanding, or the country perspective understanding, because technology certainly is revolutionizing the thoughts and the processes, certainly.
Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Ashish Gupta, for the insight into the banking.